Joey Galloway with some interesting hyperbolic comments this week about the Dogs, the college football playoff, Alabama, Michigan, Cincinnati, everybody else. We're real good at that these days. But I did want to read what Joey had to say. Now, let's keep in mind that the Dogs, when he said this, and still right now, lost by 17, by the same score, actually, 2 scores in a row to Alabama, same exact score. And this is what Joey Galloway had to say. He said Georgia is a more dangerous team now after losing a game and having a chance to finally go back into the drawing board and say, "Hey, we're not as good as we thought we were. Let's fix some things and be a better football team." Woo! I might sneeze again in this video, just showing that I'm allergic to statements sometimes. I don't know if they're a more dangerous team, but there's a couple of things here. First of all, and I keep going back to this a little bit. On Sunday when we got a chance to talk with Kirby, and it was in video form so we could see his face. He was in a good mood, and I think he was probably the only person that's a Georgia person that was in a good mood because everybody that I've been around has been miserable for 48 hours, and having to do what I do for the last two decades plus, people get very pissed, miserable, negative, whatever you want to call it, after a loss. That's just what it is. And if you are taking advantage of the $2 deal we have right now, $2 for 2 months on Dawg Post, you know what I'm talking about. Our message board is awesome. It's the most level-headed one out there that's in the Georgia realm. But folks are aggravated and angry. But Kirby on Sunday, here he is with the kind of, what's the word, calm, almost like he got what he wanted. I know that's not true, but he's not anywhere close to being the same way as everybody else about this stuff. And is what, for once, Joey Galloway is saying correct, which is that they're more dangerous now. I don't know. That's probably not the greatest way to put it. I think that what it means is the second part of what Joey had to say is true. They're totally going to have Kirby's attention this entire stretch. And he may know that this is the most important stretch of the season. And you got some award stuff this week. You've got finals this week at Georgia. This past night, Jordan Davis was in Charlotte for an awards. Kobe Dean was named the captain of the All-State Good Works team. Well, that's a big deal, by the way. So there's going to be a lot of travel here in the near future, but when things get back together and they, convene as a team, they will have had time to consider what's happened and consider their play. And whether guys come back from injury or whatever, because everybody's going to have that over these next, almost month. He will have their full attention, and it's going to be up to everyone in that organization to do what they're supposed to do. Not more, but certainly not less, and to craft their way to giving themselves the best chance to win this thing. I think they're the best team that's remaining. That doesn't mean you don't lose. I think Michigan's the hottest team coming into this thing, clearly, with the way they played their last 2 games. Georgia may or may not play Cincinnati. I doubt it. But the betting odds are that basically Alabama and Georgia are tied for the most likely chance to win this thing, and Alabama just beat Georgia by 3 scores. So what does that tell you? It tells me that there, as usual, there is an overreaction to everything that happens. The notion that Georgia's defense couldn't get scored on is crazy. That any defense could not get scored on is crazy. Michigan can't run on Georgia. I don't know what that means. People, if you want to stop the run, you can do it. But boy, it seems like if you really, really want to run the ball and you're willing to give up the pass, you probably can be successful running the ball. And but it may come that you throw for 50 yards. So there's no one thing. You've got to be prepared for everything. And right now, this team has got to pick up the pieces of a loss that was devastating for some of them, for sure. I mentioned the Kobe Dean earlier. this is something that TV cameras do not catch. But N'Kobe stopped, turned around, watched it. He picked Georgia over Alabama. He picked Georgia over Alabama and Ole Miss, but it was a Georgia Alabama thing at the end of the day. Um, Justin Schaefer seemed to take it the hardest. So those are older guys. Those are leaders of this team, and it will be up to everyone to do the part. The second part is really more important of what Joey Galloway had to say. Hey, we're not as good a team as we thought we were. Let's fix some things and be a better football team. Well, if you're going to be a better football team, then you're going to win the national championship. And that's the question. Are these guys going to do that for themselves? You got to do it for yourself before you do it for the team and Georgia. These players, it is not about the fans. This is about the players. That's it. The players and the coaches. The fans are awesome. You cannot disrespect the fans. They are the reason you're there. But they're not lifting weights. They're not running. They're not dealing with the every day of going to class and hearing about it. They don't have the spotlight. The players do. And so it's got to be the people in that building, and even more than the coaches. Kirby's won a national championship, um, you know, not as a head coach, so it's up to him too. But there is a chance here to be special in a way that no Georgia team really ever has been, and that's to win the college football playoff and perhaps beat your arch nemesis along the way. Will they regroup and do that? That's the question. I don't think you have to be a more dangerous team. You just have to be a more cohesive, sponge deploying in terms of what you're soaking up during time team. It's go time. It's been past time to win the national championship. I've repeated that often. I'm not going to stop talking about that. Even if they win it, I'm not going to stop saying that. But you have to recognize that they had a setback that has nothing to do with what's going on moving forward. But if you let Alabama beat you twice, then you will have probably gifted them that national championship. And when I say gifted, I mean moving forward. Or Alabama earned that win the other night. But Georgia, it is up to Georgia to move forward in a way that they should be concerned with themselves only, not concerned about Alabama, Bryce Young, etc. They earned that. You need to go earn what you're going to earn, and that's it. Michigan's not going to roll over and die because you lost. It's not going to happen. So the Dogs are favored. They're favored for a reason. They don't often lose straight up as favorites. It happens. It's not common, but they're favored for about the same amount against Michigan as they were against Alabama. And usually in that scenario, you don't lose two games in a row. I would have to go back and look to see the last time that Georgia lost as a touchdown favorite in back-to-back situations like that. They have, I think, only like twice in Kirby's time lost back-to-back games. I know they did with Alabama and Texas in 2000 for the 2018 season. Um, Obviously, did not do that this year. Did not do that last year. Did not do that in 19 and 17. They didn't lose back-to-back games. In 16, I can't recall off the top of my head. So y'all are going to sit here while I look it up. I know they did lose a game that they did lose a back-to-back. I just can't remember which one. It was probably the Tennessee, yeah, Ole Miss, Tennessee back-to-back, and then Vanderbilt, Florida back-to-back. Well, they weren't favored in three of those four games. So they were favored against Vandy and lost. So it's not a common thing, but it's what mattered 5 years ago is irrelevant today. They have their opportunity right now to win the national championship. It's not a common thing. I think people are overreacting personally, but they need to get this job done. It's up to them. It's their glory. It's their work, their sweat and tears, and it's time to do it.